Hi, I have a hand full of nothing. I do not have anything on this hand. But does that mean my hand is empty? Well, a pessimist person will say my hand is empty. In my hand, I have nothing. But an optimistic person will say otherwise. He will say my hand is actually full of air. So optimism is the positive outlook in life, in everything. The positive perspective in everything in life is called as optimism. So it is often described as a glass of water which is half empty. So a pessimistic person will say that the glass of water is half empty, but the optimistic person will say that the glass of water is actually half full, not half empty. So this is a clever way to explain what optimism is. But to understand what optimism is, we have to dive deeper on our psychology of mind. Optimism is a trait that is governed by our environment, by our genetics, and by our upbringing, and by the situations we fall in life. Most people are not totally optimistic. It is not ideal to be totally optimistic as well. Like, you cannot be positive about every single thing on earth. That is not ideal. But most people has a general optimistic view about the world. So studies suggest that optimism and pessimism is actually greatly influenced by genetics, which means that if you have optimistic DNA on your gene, optimistic protein on your gene, you will become more optimistic than another person. Which also means that optimism and pessimism, which also means that if someone is pessimistic, we can't just say to him that cheer up, think of others, or cheer up, or say be good about the world, feel good about the world. We can't say these things to them because optimism might be a genetically driven thing. Also depends on the environment and or your upbringing. If you have lived in a happy environment, or if you had a positive outlook in life from your parents, then you might be more optimistic than others. But if you had parents who were negative about you, and you had negative environment around you, then you might be pessimistic, more pessimistic than another person. Now, why optimism is important? Optimism is important because it gives us hope in our life. It gives us new perspective to see things differently and to know that that no matter what hardship comes after us, it is not the end. We can still find good things among the hardship. For example, if you fail an exam, does not mean it is the end of your life. It still means you have room for improvement. That is optimism. Improving yourself and understanding that everything is not bad in this world. Now, optimism can be learned. Research suggests that if you teach people optimism, almost 80% of people can have a better outlook of life after the course. So optimism can be learned, which means that pessimism also can be learned, which means that we have to be careful about what we are getting, what we are consuming. If we are consuming negative contents that shows negative things and shows a negative outlook on the world, we will think of in a more pessimistic way. On the other hand, if we have positive influence on our works, on our environment, it means that we will be much more positive when we are dealing with something else. So that brings me to the end of the conversation, and I would like to summarize. Optimism is the positive outlook on life, and it is really important because it gives us a new perspective and hope for life. And we can gain optimism by genetics, by improving our environment, or by simply learning it through others. So thank you for listening to me, and I am signing off right now.